Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Community Development Advisory Committee meeting to order today for February the 8th. We would like to talk about the discussion of the necessity for conducting the electronic meeting. Governor Lee's Executive Order number 16, which has been executed through February the 27th, 2021, by Executive Order number 71, suspended the provisions of the Open Meetings Act to the extent necessary to allow governing bodies to conduct their essential business by electronic means, rather than being required to gather a quorum of members physically in the same location. One condition of meeting electronically is that if a member of CDAC or staff is attending by audio only, they are asked to identify themselves by name and position when they speak. In order to proceed with meeting electronically, the governing body should make a determination that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. At this time, it would be appropriate for the members to discuss whether they believe that meeting electronically is necessary and vote accordingly. If the members do not agree that meeting electronically is appropriate at this time, then this meeting should be adjourned until such time as the members can meet in person. Christina, will you do the roll call?
Yeah. Do you have any discussion, anybody?
No.
Okay, great. All right. Chairwoman Tester.
Here. And yes.
Ronald Crockett.
Yes.
Raymond Hill.
Yes.
Thank you. Ella Kane.
Yes.
Vernon Perry Jr. Vernon not with us yet? Okay. Matthew Slagle.
Yes.
Shauna Nefos Webb.
Yes.
Steve Willinger.
Yes.
Daniel Witcher.
Yes.
Thank you, Chairwoman.
Okay. And at this time, I'd like to go ahead and welcome Matthew Slagle. He is a new committee member that was recently approved by the City Council. Matthew, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Appreciate the opportunity to participate. It was one of my first volunteer experiences with the city. So looking forward to getting caught up and getting involved and just being of support and assistance.
Well, thank you very much. Christina.
Matthew.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Christina, do we need to do a roll call of all the members to see who's here? Is that necessary?
We just, I got it with the electronic board meeting
Okay.
approval. We are good.
Very good. Very good.
Thank you.
All right, Matthew, you'll get to know all of us. Hopefully one day we'll meet in person. And it's a really good committee and we have a lot of good discussion. And Christina is a great leader. You're going to like being on this committee.
I've certainly heard that and heard great things. I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. All right. The next thing is the approval of the minutes from the January 12th meeting. Has everyone had a chance to go over the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Does anyone have any corrections?
No.
I move for approval.
I found one little typo that I mentioned to Christina that she's going to fix. It was in section 5 where it talks about the public hearings, and it was in the second line. And she just left one little letter out of a word. It was no big deal, but she'll take care of fixing that. But as far as I know, that's the only correction that needs to be made.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Christine, did you get the first and the second?
Ron Crockett and Steve Willinger.
Thank you.
Okay, let's do our vote. Everybody ready?
Yes.
All right. Chairwoman Tester.
Yes.
Ronald Crockett.
Yes.
Raymond Hill.
Yes.
Ella Kane. Ella, you with us?
Ella.
Sorry, I was unmuted. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ella.
Vernon joined us yet? I don't think so. All right, Matthew Slagle.
Yes.
Shauna Nefos Webb.
Yes.
Steve Willinger.
Yes.
And Daniel Witcher.
Yes.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay, moving on to old business. And Christina, you have a couple of updates for us.
do. I've got to figure out how to use my computer, guys. Okay. So I just wanted to give you a quick update on the Cdbg CARES. That's the CV round 1. Obviously, we gave that money to multiple nonprofits back in the spring, but we are drawing down funds from HUD. We have already drawn down 3 invoices, I guess you would say. So we are processing the money for that. We have had a couple of people that have not drawn down any funds yet, but I have been in contact with them, and we may actually have to reallocate some funding, but we don't have to worry about that right now. Let's just see if they can use the funds for what we approve them to spend this money for, and if not, I'll come back to you guys and ask for obviously approval on those. The Cdbg CARES CV round 3, everything was approved with City Council, as you know, back in December. And then in January, we worked really hard on getting out a press release. We worked hard on contracts. We worked hard on applications for folks. And the United Way of Bristol has been excellent to work with. So that is up and going. It started on Monday, February the 1st. And so far, they have a wait list of people, and they've been referring people to, doing their job and referring others to get help from the community before these federal funds. Because as you know, these are last resort funds. You've got to have used all the other nonprofit or available resources to you first. You have to prove that, and then have to prove that you're low, moderate income qualified, and you have to prove that you were affected by COVID-19 before you can get help with your utilities or the food vouchers. So it's a pretty in-depth program, but I think that it has really already started helping a lot of people.
Excellent.
Any questions on those CARES funds? Okay, awesome. Our 2019 caper was approved.
Yay!
Yay! Everything in the HUD world, Matt, for you newbie, is an acronym, and CAPER stands for Consolidated Annual Performance Evaluation Report. We actually had to postpone our CAPER multiple times because of the CARES funding, because we had to keep updating what we did on the 2019 program year because COVID started in our 2019 year. So it's been crazy, but it is approved, and we can focus on the next bout of business coming right up. Any questions about that?
Okay, moving on to new business. Christina has a report for us on our action plan.
Okay, guys, I am actually going to switch over my screen so you can see what I'm proposing. Maybe. There it is. Okay. So this is by no means do you guys have to do what staff me is thinking, but I wanted to run through this with you just real quick because we're trying to budget, and then, you know, HUD is going to expect us to have a budget the day after they tell us our allocation. So I'm going to really need kind of some direction from you guys on what you'd like to see change, if anything. So in 2020, we were funded through the Cdbg program $197, $102. Okay. Obviously, we have no idea what we're going to get for the 2021 HUD year, which starts July 1st. Okay. So in these efforts, I have just kind of put together a very basic plan based upon our prior year, last year's funding amount. Okay. So administration is always 20% of your grant. And public services is always up to 15% of the total grant. Now, that we can possibly work with that this year, or if there are other nonprofits for certain reasons that we need to give funding for COVID or something else for us to discuss. But really, if we could stick within that 15%, I would just feel like we're in a safer position. Okay. So
Christina,
Yeah, see?
Yeah, I have a question, please. The
Okay.
administration part, I understand. Public services, what does that entail? What's that about?
So public services, you can do a lot with this funding, and public services mean that we have given for the last several years to the YWCA for their day care center for the kids, and they have there a sliding scale payment method. So like if parents qualify as a low moderate income family, they pay a certain amount to the YW for the daycare services. In general, most of them are very low income folks, and they do not pay for their services because of our program. Okay. Mm-hmm. So our program pays for 12 families, very low to low income people, childcare, so they can work. Okay. Now there's a ton of different things that you can do with public services. You can give it to multiple other nonprofits, just like we did in that first round of CARES money. We gave all that money to nonprofits for personal protective equipment. Yeah, anything like that. You could do it for homelessness. You can give it to shelters, anything that there's a whole variety of things that you can give your public service money to.
Okay, so it's discretionary funding.
It is at our discretion.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So, but a key thing is that admin and this public service money does not carry over. Okay, so it is just 1 year and moving on. Okay, you can't carry over. Now, the other programs that we've been doing are carryover. So we will, and you'll see here, what we currently have as carryover. So our 4 major projects are rehab reconstruction, sidewalks, demolition, and of course the public services. Okay, so rehab reconstruction is when we go in and we fix up somebody's house. We do emergency up to $10,000. We do a substantial up to $40,000. And then a reconstruction would give us money to be able to actually, if we can't fix their house and bring it up to city code for the $40,000, we have the option of demolishing it and rebuilding a HUD house. Now, there's a lot of work there, but it is a possibility, a lot of factors. So right now, February the 9th, 2021, we have an approximate carryover balance of $135,000. So, and this rehab admin is a different kind of admin. Like, it's hard to explain, but when you're doing these substantial rehabs and reconstructions, you can charge a little bit extra because you have so much time spent in the environmental review and the process of everything. So they give us a little extra money for project management and staff time. Okay. But that's the only rehab admin is different than normal admin. Mm-hmm. Just bear with me.
Project specific?
Yes. Project specific. Correct. So I'm proposing that we give that in our 2021 allocation, $83,681.60. Okay. So sidewalks, we have worked really hard on our sidewalk projects, and I hope you guys can see it. Like this year, they've done a really great job, and they're going to keep doing it because we still have a ways to go. So they have 85,000 currently. And I'd like to give them approximately 10,000 more to finish up the census tract, the block group that we've been working on. So that would probably, long range would be another year or 2 in the sidewalks for the city.
Christine, I have a question.
Yes.
This is just a general question.
Sure.
Do you know if the rehab that they're doing, the street project that they're doing on East Cedar that'll go all the way to King College, do you know if sidewalks are included in that plan, or are those sidewalks something that has to come out of our budget?
I don't know if Tim wants to chime in here. I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to take that as a no. So I will find out.
I'm sorry, I was muted there trying to figure out how to get off unmute and off video. The Cedar Street project has sidewalks on both sides of the road, 5 foot wide for the length of the project. And that's funded out of TDOT funding, 80%. So it's not out of your all CDBG funds.
Thank you. Yay.
Another question on that, Tim. You also have sidewalk funding and other means as well. Is that correct? And is this 95,000 going to be adequate, do you think, from our committee?
Yes, we are currently working in the Fairmount area on Kentucky Avenue as whenever the weather decides to cooperate again. And that is coming out of these CDBG funds. They will be working on Pennsylvania Avenue out of CDBG. So there's an area there from basically 5th Street over to Virginia Avenue in that area that can be used for CDBG funds. And we do have other funding for sidewalks outside that area in our street department budget.
Got you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
And just remember, everybody, our CDBG money is obviously it's for only certain projects, certain blocks and census tracts within the city. It's not for the whole city.
Right.
But the project we're working on right now does qualify. Any more questions? Good. Move on. Marjorie, you good for me?
Oh, good.
Okay.
Carry on.
Okay. So demolition, we currently have about $13,775.40 in our balance, which is not a lot because demos are weird. You never know if they're going to range from $5,000 to $10,000 or $15,000 depending on the size of the house. Last year we had a large demolition that took about $16,000, $15,000 or $16,000 out of our budget. And it just, again, it depends on the size of the house and you just never know. So I'd like to put in there, obviously with your approval, $30,000, which would bring us up to a total of about $43,775.40. And then of course our public services, we can use up to $29,565.30. But here I'm proposing that, obviously we don't have a balance, but I'm proposing that we continue with the YWCA daycare program. I just, we've looked into other programs and they just really seem to have it down and it's a worthwhile. And then we've been working really hard with ARCH, Appalachian Regional Coalition on Homelessness, to try to get more homeless services here in Bristol. I mean, obviously the need has grown the last couple of years. So just keeping it under that total amount, that 15% of $29,565, I was thinking that if ARCH wanted it, we could come up with a project and possibly give them the $4,000, which would give us $29,000.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Christina, another question, please.
Yes.
Go back up to item 3, right there, demolition. What is that about the average annual spending we do for demolitions?
No, it just really depends, Steve. Some years we have 1 or 2 demolitions, and some years we have 5 or 8 demos. So the job of our codes enforcement office and the Better Property Board is they, obviously do this citywide. And if there is a problem with a blighted property, they have to take it to the Better Property Boards multiple times. And then the Better Property Boards says that it must be demolished. They do a demolish order. And so basically, if these folks can't demo the home themselves, that's when our program gets involved. And it's a national objective because it cleans up like slum and blight in your areas. And then, so it basically would have a vacant lot where people could actually build back on.
All right. So with that, how do you come up with this number?
Oh, this is totally a guesstimate. So like right now in carryover, we have $13,000. So that's all I have. So one house could wipe me out total because I just don't know how much these demos are going to be. If we're going to have any, they could range from, $5,000 up to $15,000. You just don't know. It all depends on the house.
Okay, so this is your just best guess at what you think you might need.
Yeah,
for
all
budget.
of this budget stuff right now, with us not knowing an actual clear number from HUD, is just completely guesstimate.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure thing.
Hey, Christina, does the demolition amount include any type of environmental fees we'd have to pay or research? Is that all lumped in there?
That is lumped in my admin, my
Okay.
general administration for the program. I still have to do a full environmental review, inspections and all that for all the properties.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Okay. So again, it's my best guess. And if you guys want us to look at other needs or other things, we had our public hearing in last month's meeting. No comments were heard, but I think we have a good little program here. But obviously, we need you guys to decide what you want to do. And then next month, we'll need to make a recommendation to council one way or another.
I feel
Looks like a
confident.
good plan.
Yeah, I feel confident in the recommendations and the allocations that you've made. I don't think I have any further discussion. Does anyone else have any further discussion?
No.
Do you guys want to approve this contingent, this recommendation of contingent on the final allocation, or do you want to wait until next month's meeting to make a motion and the recommendation?
Why don't we make a motion? I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve this contingent upon us learning our 2021 numbers.
I'll second that.
Can I have a comment to that as well?
Sure.
I have no problem as long as, we're in a 20% plus or minus money coming from the HUD of you going ahead. If you receive that number here in the next 4 weeks, to go ahead and adjust these figures, reflecting that addition up and down into it, and just use these same percentages and continue on.
Thank you. I mean, again, you guys, this is just my best stitch effort. Like, we honestly have no idea what HUD's going to do, especially if there's more COVID money on the table and where that's going to fall for us. So we'll get through this. That's right. All right.
Good. You've done good, Christina.
Well, thank you. I'll pay you that $20 I owe you later. So motion from Steve to approve contingent upon our funding allocation. Shauna seconded. You guys ready for roll call?
Ready?
Chairwoman Tester.
Yes.
Ronald Crockett.
Yes.
Raymond Hill.
Yes.
Ella Kane. Oh, Ella's gone. Vernon Perry. No Vernon. We still have a quorum. Don't worry, everybody. Matthew Slagle.
Yes.
Shauna Neefos-Webb.
Yes.
Steve Willinger.
Yes.
Daniel Witcher.
Yes.
Great. Thanks, everybody.
Okay. Now we're ready to move on to other matters. The first thing is the CDBG and Home Staff Monthly Report Program Update.
You guys, I am getting so good at this. Here we go.
Whoa.
I'm telling you.
Yay.
I emailed you out the January 2021 monthly report, but I also am pulling it up here. I'm getting a little cool in our Zoom time here lately. We had a really, really busy January. So if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer anything. I will point out that contracts have been signed and work has started on several emergency rehabs at 205 Willow Street, 1237 Carolina Avenue, and 906 Kentucky Avenue. We've done 3 drawdowns this month, which is actually a lot of work because you have to get all your invoices together and fill out all your information for HUD. So that was busy. And of course, the United Way program kicked off for the COVID Cares project. So we also had a lot of, I don't have it here, but we have had a lot of discussion in the home consortium about an environmental assessment that we have completed on a project in Kingsport. We always have to do an environmental review, but when you move dirt or have changed density of a property, you actually have to do an environmental assessment. So that's a step further than the normal, and it has taken us months, but it's finished. It's been approved with HUD, and we are signing contracts on that. Actually, I think we signed them today. So anyways, if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer it.
Christina.
Yes. Hey, Ella.
This is Ella. I don't have a question. I was trying to run from the car to get in here and to connect to the computer, so I disconnected. I'm sorry I hung up on you.
I can't believe you did that to us, Ella.
We talked about it though.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Thank you. Well, we're glad you're back.
Christina, do you need to capture her vote for the last roll call?
No, we're okay. We've got a quorum.
Okay.
Okay, cool beans, because it was going to be yes, and that's right when I hung up when Steve hit the motion, so I'm sorry.
I'm going to put you down at the yes, and we're just going to move on, and we'll say all present in favor.
There you go.
Okay. So, what's next? Let's see.
We have the Bristol Day Center update.
That's right. Let's see. That's going to be... Ron, I've put you on for this.
Well, okay, we're moving along finally after 2 years. What's going on is that we're in the process of figuring out how to approach Bristol, Virginia to get the site that has been selected, give their blessing to it. The site we selected is Hunt Memorial United Methodist Church on Harmeling Street. It's located between Oakview Avenue, it's very near Rice Terrace area, and Euclid Avenue. It's about a block from the junior high school and a block from St. Anne's, in between St. Anne's and the junior high, middle school, they call them now. The church, the United Methodist Church, has selected Bristol as a missional hub for what we're trying to do. Hunt Memorial already has an existing mission there to try to address the needs of the homeless, the near homeless, those who need rapid rehousing, that maybe lose their place to live and have to find another place. Family Promise of Bristol is behind this effort. My capacity, I'm on the steering committee, which is an independent ad hoc committee that has been advising Family Promise, and now I'm on the committee of 5 people to bring this to fruition through a memorandum of understanding with the United Methodist Church and Family Promise and other partners such as Crossroads Medical Mission, the United Way of Bristol, the new Envision Center on the Virginia side, which is only a couple of blocks away. There will be a capital campaign to enlarge the building, to provide showers, additional toilets, a laundry facility, storage lockers for the people. The space is a little bit smaller than what they have in Johnson City, but it is a 2-story building, so there is the potential that we can expand to the upstairs. They have regular worship services there every week upstairs, but they don't need the entire upstairs area, which is now filled with pews, and they'd like to convert it to a more informal casual place with portable chairs so you can move it around, and also have other types of meetings upstairs. Crossroads Medical Mission might move upstairs eventually if there's enough demand. The anticipated maximum capacity for clients is 20 persons. We'll have a bus running between the library and the Salvation Army. The library will have a case manager. There are just all kinds of stuff going on. But the focus is going to be on the homeless and those that are at risk of losing their housing. And in the longer term, trying to develop transitional life skills that will help people to have a more sustainable life. And this is that latter one is a long-term goal for the clients. The immediate immediate needs are they try to meet those the best they can. Long-term needs, generally people need about a year or more before they feel comfortable exposing too much of their personal lives, and it's just a combination of factors. But it's hopeful that we will attract people away from hanging out in the public library. We'll have computers there, Wi-Fi that they can use. It'll be close to the Envision Center for employment opportunities. Ballot Health is going to be a partner in it. Just all kinds of people coming together. Any questions?
Ron, you mentioned, oh, sorry. Ron, you mentioned that there was going to be a bus. How often is that going to be going between the proposed site and the library and the Salvation Army?
That hasn't been set up yet. I'm just talking in very vague generalities right now. Family Promise has a 12-passenger van. Hunt Memorial has a 12-passenger van. It's anticipated that the hours of operation will be between 9 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon. We anticipate that there'll be an early bus and a late bus at least, and then perhaps a midday bus. It's going to depend on how many people need to go. It's also within walking distance of downtown. Many of the people in this population right now, they walk to get there. It's very, it's within 3/4 of a mile, you hit a lot of people. And State Street, Piedmont, intersection of Piedmont and State Street is about 3/4 of a mile. And so that answer that question?
It does. Thank you.
Ron, what facilities do you expect to eventually have in there? You mentioned computers. Are there restrooms, showers, clothes washing facilities? What else would you expect?
Well, there are examination rooms for Crossroads. They're private meeting rooms for people to meet with their caseworker. There's a general assembly room. There's a kitchen. The existing building is about 1,500 square feet on each level. And we've got an addition plan for about 400 feet, which is where we'll put all the new restrooms in that area, all the new showers in that area. We've been down to the Johnson City Day Center to see what they built, and we've learned some things from them about what we need to do differently. And so we're incorporating that in the planning. But right now, we're just, the immediate concern is get the blessing of Bristol, Virginia.
Right.
This is in an area that's zoned for public schools, churches, and community centers. However, they're telling us, oh no, we don't consider this a community center. So
the city said that, Ron?
Huh?
Bristol, Virginia City said, hey, it's not.
That's what they've said. Yeah, the planning individual told me, oh, they don't consider this as qualifying for a community center. I have done some research and I don't agree with that assessment, but she has her reasons. And
what are they saying it meets? If it doesn't meet a center, what are they category they plugging it in?
They don't want it.
Oh, I got you.
So Ron, I'm sorry. So they just don't want it, or they can't differentiate the day center from a community center?
It's the day center notion that troubles them. They're worried about it's pretty close to some of the high rent neighborhoods of Bristol, Virginia, but those folks have been there for years. If you go across Euclid Avenue, I mean, those are some of the nicest homes in Bristol, Virginia. But all the kids walking back and forth from Rice Terrace to Washington Lee and all that's been going on for years. Those neighborhoods, and so far we have not heard any objections from the neighbors. We've been talking to the neighbors. I can't say that we have any official support from the school board, but it seems that we have unofficial support, but we haven't made a presentation to them. But they flat told us we'll never get a special use permit. They changed the zoning laws effective January 1st. So that's some of the stuff that we're working through. They don't define, by the way, they don't even have a definition of what a community center or a church is in their code.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So, I mean, you go to the dictionary and any reasonable interpretation, and, community centers, there are legal definitions. You go on the internet, and they have definitions for community centers and ordinances around the country. And for the most part, they are what you would think of in terms of Slagle Center. And you can have social services as long as they are supplementary to the main mission. Of course, that's going to be one of the issues here, but the property is owned by the United Methodist Church and Trust. And we figure if they don't want the Methodist Church to have it, they're going to have fights with a whole bunch of other churches around town who do similar things. So we don't want to make a controversy and make the front page of the paper, but the way we're working on it, we're angling to present it. This is a church mission, and it has the support of Holston Conference and the United Methodist Church, the district, and we'll involve other churches in this, and that's where the volunteers are coming from. It's all paid staff.
Ron, if this is a total church function, there's no city funding going toward it. Why they can do this without that, can't they? Without having permission from the city?
We don't need, we could go ahead and build a building and then they could come issue a cease and desist order. That's what it is.
Well, if we're just using what's already, and it's just because I don't understand, if it is a church and the church is offering these services, I don't know why the city needs to be involved with that. What's the criteria that's making it go to the city for some kind of an approval?
It's not for an approval. We just want to know that they're not going to issue a cease and desist order, which is their prerogative to do so. Then we go to court and it gets messy, but we don't want to collect money and build this, the additional loan is $120,000. Are you going to get people to donate to something that might not be allowed?
Okay, so it's what, that many people congregating?
Yeah, I think it's primarily just a safety concern. Obviously, the city has standards that they want to make sure the building's compatible with before they have people there. So I can't speak for Bristol, Virginia.
But this,
Hey, that's a good explanation, though.
well, this is more of the zoning is has to do with the use of the building, not the building itself. That comes under the building code. Since I'm an engineer, I'm somewhat familiar with what the Bristol, Virginia building codes are, and they're identical almost in every respect to what they are on the Tennessee side. The building itself is grandfathered in. You don't have to change it. If the addition will have to meet all current codes. But the minute you start altering the existing building, now you open a whole new can of worms of bringing everything up to code. So that is the safety of the building, and the building code is a different issue. An architect has to prepare plans, seal them, present them to the building official for approval before we can ever get a building permit for the addition. But that is a separate issue from the zoning.
Okay.
The zoning is whether we can just be there.
Yeah, I don't see a zoning problem, Ron, unless I'm missing something, since it's already zoned for community centers and churches. I mean, that's what you got.
Yeah, I've been talking to the people for 6 months and they have a different opinion.
Yeah, well, legally, I don't know. Unless they get neighbors to complain, I don't see if there's a whole lot to stand on.
Well, and really that's the bottom line. I mean, we don't want to go, you can't get people to contribute to something of that magnitude without knowing that it'll be used for its intended purpose.
Right.
Yeah, you're right, Ron, in that. Absolutely. Yeah.
Good job, Ron. Sound like you're all on the right track with everything.
We're trying.
Ron, I appreciate everything you're doing to make this happen. It really is needed in our community, and thank you so much.
Sure. Well, it's
Yes, thank you.
amazing. We had a meeting, and I bet there were 30 people who showed up that are all part of this effort, representing all kinds of groups in the community. And there is a lot of support for it, and there is a need.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Family Promises applied for a grant, and if they are given the money, they will have money available. They're actually planning to hire a caseworker and go recruit people off the streets, as well as have money for rapid rehousing, which is a dire need on the Tennessee side of town, because there just aren't vacancies in the public housing scheme. Get on a waiting list and take your chances. So there's a lot of moving parts to this whole program.
Mhm. Thank you. Okay, do we have Karina on the line? Is Karina with us?
I am here. Can you
Hi,
hear?
Karina.
Hello.
Hi. Would love to hear from you about a Bristol housing update.
Well, as some of you may or may not know, they have extended the eviction moratorium to March 31st. So there is no rent evictions at this time. We're coming up on almost a year. At the Housing Authority, we have several that are very far behind. They've not made any effort whatsoever to make any payments. And most of these people are folks that have steady income. Their income has not changed since COVID hit. They're just choosing and taking advantage of the situation not to pay their rent. So we've already signed a repayment agreement with most of them. I'm not sure if we'll sign a second one or not. It's highly encouraged. But for the folks that have not made any attempt whatsoever to make a payment that could have made some type of a payment and has chosen not to, it's going to be doubtful that we'll sign another repay with them. Christina and I were on another Zoom meeting earlier, and I was talking about THDA, Tennessee Housing Development Agency. They are getting, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Christina, I think the total is 480 some thousand.
458 million.
Okay, or million, yeah, not thousand. So that wouldn't go very far with it. But some of the counties have chosen to distribute their funds themselves. So THDA will be distributing to 91 counties in Tennessee, and that'll be 385 million, I believe. I have contacted them, and I think Christina has as well, to see if we're going to be eligible for any of those funds, especially for the Housing Authority. We do have some that have been affected by COVID that could, use the money to repay what they owe in rent. There's some of the qualifications are or requirements. They'll have to provide documentation showing they've either lost their job or their hours were cut and so forth. But I've not heard back from THDA. I left a message last week with the executive director, and I've not received a phone call. I left my phone number and my email address, and I've not heard anything to see if we're going to be included in those funds. So Christina and I, whichever one hears anything first, is going to let the other know. But at the rate we're going right now, I'm not sure we will. They're hoping to have the portal where landlords and tenants can apply. They're hoping to have that up and going by March 1st. So that's only a couple weeks away. So I'm not sure if we're going to hear anything or not. So, but I know a lot of private landlords could really benefit from the money because their tenants have been so far behind that have lost their jobs. For our Section 8 vouchers, we've been able, of course, to pay the landlord the part of the Housing Authority, but a lot of their tenants have not paid their part. So I know this would help them as well. So that's about all I have.
I will also add that I have also contacted THDA multiple times to figure out, how Bristol can be a part of this. And I just think they're overwhelmed, just like everybody else right now, to be honest with you. Their program's going to take weeks to months to get together. So maybe they don't have the answers. But, Tim and I were just talking about how this would benefit so many in our community. So Karina and I will not give up.
Thank you. We'll throw in, we did house a gentleman today that has been homeless for 3 years, living in his vehicle. Well, actually, it wasn't his vehicle, we found out today. It actually belonged to a friend. And he was able to park it in a business parking lot. And just friends have let him come into their home to take showers, but that's not been every day. And he didn't smell real good today, but he now has hot water, a roof over his head. So someone is making sure that he has plenty of toiletries. So hopefully we'll get him on the right track, and especially for his hygiene and helping him get any agencies involved that can help him get on the right road. So we felt really good about that today.
Good. Oh, it's successful.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
it is.
Thanks, Karina.
You're welcome.
Are these funds available only to housing, typical residential homes that people would be in, or government housing, or are they available to mobile homes or other residences?
Are you talking about the THDA funds?
Yes, the THDA funds.
As far as I know right now, they are for private landlords. That's what we're trying to find out from the Housing Authority's aspect, if we're eligible for any of those funds, if any of our tenants that are behind can apply and help them get caught up to us. I've got 2 or 3 that are over $2,000 behind. And so that's why we're hoping we'll be eligible for those funds, but definitely for private landlords.
I have one who lady had a stroke about 6 months ago, and she's been out of the hospital a couple months, and her family are living with her, trying to take care of her, but she's paid no rent for a good 6 or 7 months. And I
Yes,
mean,
that could be something you're eligible for that you could apply for.
great, good.
Just go to their website. It's thdA.org, and they've got some information on there. It's under COVID-19.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Karina, we thank you for your update. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
We appreciate that. You're doing a lot of good work.
Thank you.
Okay, do we have any other discussion for today?
I've got one more thing, Marjorie, I promise. Just one.
Okay, go ahead.
Arch Appalachian Regional Coalition on Homeless did their abbreviated point in time count about 2 weeks ago, and it was successful. I don't know if they've have final numbers, but on a meeting earlier today, my third Zoom meeting today, they did say that they had a very successful point in time count, and even going in very negatively about it, they were able to get a lot of information.
Well, good, good. That's important that we do that every year, so we have all the statistics of what's going on. That's good. I'm glad that was a success then. Any other discussion or announcements? Our next meeting will be March the 9th. Depending on the governor's directives, we'll have to wait and see if it'll be a Zoom meeting or in person. So stay tuned for that. And then we'll have a meeting in April, and then we'll have our summer break. So 2 more before the summer break. Anything else?
Oh, let's get out of here.
Thank you.
With that, we're adjourned.